Hello everyone, myself Mr. Hemant Pandey, lecturer from the Department of Computer Engineering Shift A. So we are continuing this current chapter, that is Programmable Logic Circuit, that is PLC. So we have done the few topics. Let just see the topics. We have seen the introduction of PLC, then what are the advantages of PLC control systems, the basic functions of PLC block diagrams, difference between the relay panel and the PLC, and then so we have done till here. Let's start with the PLC power supply, right? So one of the very important thing, that is the power supply of the PLC. Why it is very important, right? Because if there is a power failure, all the system will get switched off, okay, and the controlling and the monitoring process will also be stopped. So that is why the power supply of the PLC is very important, right? Because we have to see what is the alternative option for the power supply of the PLC, right? So let us see one by one. A PLC without a power supply is much like a car without a gas or a laptop without a battery, right? So it is the fuel of the PLC, because if there is no power supply, there is no any advantages of PLC, right? There is no use of PLC basically. So PLC power supply converts a line voltage, commonly 120 or 240 volt AC into DC, commonly 24 volt, to power on the PLC and its components. So just remember one thing, that all the components of PLC and PLC itself work on DC supply of 24 volt. Okay, but what we are getting? We are getting 240 volts, right? From our electricity, we get 240 volts. So what is the main function? First we have to convert that 240 volt AC into 24 volt DC. Line voltage is stepped down with a transformer rectified to convert it to the DC. So we use a step down transformer, which step down the voltage from 240 to 24, and then we use a rectifier to convert it to the DC, right? And then we need a filter with a capacitor. Why we need a filter? To convert the pulsating DC into pure DC, right? So all these things are done here. All of this is packed into a small looking power supply. Okay, so we have a very small component in which all these things are packed, and it converts the power supply of 240 volt DC into 24 volt DC, right? So that all the components of PLC can be functioned, right? Then there is another concept, that is syncing and sourcing, right? So the syncing and sourcing are basically input and output module cards used in the PLC. Conventional relay cards are simple and very easy to interface, but suffer from the mechanical limitations of low operation and limited lifespan. So conventional relay are also very good, and they have a very good response time, right? But the only problem, and they are very easy to interface also, right? But the only problem is that we have to replace it frequently because of the mechanical limitation, right? It gets damaged, right? The function of the relay is going down day by day. So we have to change the relay very frequently. So these problem can almost overcome by using syncing and sourcing digital card. Okay, so by using this technique, digital card, we can outcome the problems which were in the relays, right? A syncing digital input output provides a grounded connection to the load, and a sourcing digital input output provides a voltage source to the load, right? So this is the only difference. So syncing digital is connected to a ground, and the source is connected to the voltage, right? Then there is a next one, that is the input and output modules of PLC. So input and output modules are the fundamental parts of the programmable logic circuit, that is PLC, right? Because if you don't have an input and output, there is no function, right? What you will do? Just if you have a PLC and there is no input and output modules, there is no use of the PLC, right? It is like a handicap. So there is a multiple input and output modules are used in the PLC. because we have to use we have to cover the whole plant. There's a lots of inputs and there's a lots of outputs, so we use a multiple input and output in the PLC system. They provide an interface between the central processing unit and the programmable device. The module which interacts with the input signal is called as the input module, right? So input signal, like we have like a temperature, a push button, then we have displacement sensor. It means all types of sensors, transducers, then push button, or all these things, or any switch, solenoid switch. All these are the nothing but used in the input module. It is required to connect input devices like different types of switches. The module which interacts with the output signal is called as the output module, right? So the output module can be alarm or any actuator, right? Any valve, right? Or any bulb, LED bulb, siren, anything. The output module is required to connect output device like electrical appliances applications. Now let us see some power relation between the input and output modules. The input module of PLC does four main functions. Input module interface receives the signal from process device at 220 volt AC, convert the input signal to 5 volt DC that can be used by the PLC. Isolator block is used to prevent PLC from underground fluctuations, after which the signal is sent to the output end, that is the PLC. Okay, the output module of the PLC works similarly to the input module but in the reverse process, right? What means it converts 5 volt DC into the actuating signal. It interfaces the output load and the processor. So the input and output unit provides the interface between the system and the outside world, right? So this is the communication between the system and the outside world, right? The input and output do the communication between the system and outside world. Okay, the input and output interface provide isolation and the signal conditioning function so that the sensors and actuators can often be directly connected them without the need of the other circuitry, right? So we need a signal conditioning because the output of the sensor is very low, and to give it to the PLC we need a little signal conditioning so that the PLC can read that signal. Output devices are like motors, starting coil, solenoid valve, etc. Input devices are like temperature sensors, flow sensor, encoders. So all type of sensors are nothing but input devices. Okay. Now this is also one of the very important topic. What is the selection criteria of the PLC, right? Means on basis of which point you should select the PLC. The first one is a necessary input and output capacity. So you should know how many input and output are required, right? What are the power supplies we need for the input and output, types of the input and output required, then size of the memory required. The size of the memory is whether the program is low, whether the program is a small program or a big program to solve the complex problem. Speed and power required of the CPU and the instruction set. Manufacturer supports and backup. Suppose if the PLC need a maintenance or there is some issue, so what are the maintenance and any warranty provided by the manufacturer. Electrical requirements, that is what the power supply should it needed and or any other things. Speed of the operation, whether you are using it in the very critical situation or which type of condition you are using. So based on that we have to see what are the speed of the operation, that is the response time we can say. Communication requirements, that is which type of fire, RS-232 or there are different types of fire which we needed. Software, okay, the software in the computer to burn the program in the PLC. Operator interface, right? So operator interface means where you will see all the readings or all the controlling purpose, right? Physical environment. Physical environment means whether the temperature is high, low, or it's a rainy, or it's a humidity, or it's a vibrational type of environment. So all these things you should know while you are selecting a PLC. Okay. Programming equipment. What are the programming equipment required? Programming equipment means when you are programming a PLC, right? When you are, because when the PLC will work, when you will do the programming, and how you have to do the programming by using computer, right? So what are the equipment needed while you are programming the PLC? So first thing is computer, right? Because if you don't have a computer, how you can write the program, right? So this is the main equipment used to program the PLC and for interfaces. Then second very important thing is port converter cable USB to RS-232, right? Whatever you are writing in the computer, right? That data, how will that data will transfer to the PLC? So that data will transfer to the PLC using the port converter cable USB RS-232. Okay. So serial port RS-232 is a common part for the PLC program. This converter is very important because in market now serial port RS-232 is not available in the laptop. So we use that converter. Okay. So PLC communication cable to communicate with the computer and PLC. So the RS2 we have a cable which is connected to the RS-232 and the PLC. PLC software. This software is provided by the PLC manufacturer. So they will provide one software. Using that software, we do the programming, and that programming is sent to the PLC machine using the RS-232 and cables. Right. So, what are the different programming formats? The five most popular types of PLC programming languages are: first one is ladder logic, ladder diagram, then SFC, that is sequential function charts, then FBD, that is functional block diagram, structure text, and the instruction list. Okay. So in the next video lecture we will see the ladder logic, because it is the most common programming language which we used for the PLC system. Okay, so we stop here, and the next video lecture we will see the ladder logic. Thank you.